Couple of things and do a little bit of Q&A. I can see if I can get this to work right. I got some new equipment, so I am not really sure how we're going to do this. But hey, whichever. So I'll wait for you guys to come on in and answer any questions you guys might have about Wars of the World, or the channel, or whatever. Also, in variated questions, I'm moving dice tables. So I will wait for you guys to pop in here. You have to excuse my, I'm trying to adjust different things here so that we can try to get this going. And hopefully that will work. I would like to know if you guys can hear me, so that would be fantastic. Okay. So a few things that are going on. I did mention a while back that NATO and I are not going to be going to Egypt. Um, it was a very, very costly trip that we just can't touch right now. So, but it's going to have to happen at a different time. Um, let's see what else is there. We are going to do a World War II. We have to, because we need the ending to move on to the next round, for especially for the second part of the Chinese Civil War, because that's really going to depict whether or not the CCP China is going to be sticking around. So we need that. We're going to need that for World War III. So the idea behind the Wars of the World series is that um, you look at World War III, you pick your faction, whether you're going to be the communists, you're going to be Axis, or you're going to be allies. That's how that starts. That's how you initiate all of that. And from there, you start the beginning of the game, the back in the 7 Years' War. That tells you which faction you need to play in the 7 Years' War, because you want the game to develop to where you have allies in World War III. Now, the fun part is when we get into the Cold War, there's going to be a lot of changes that you guys probably haven't seen before. Part of those changes is use it, lose it, don't get it back. And um, so there's going to be a scenario where whatever you have on the board is what you start World War III with. So that's going to be coming along. I wanted to do this stream so that we had time to. It's the middle of the scenarios. We have time to kind of explain a few things. NATO's not here right now, but I can explain as much as I possibly can, and at least think twice about it. So I don't have anybody in here yet. So yeah, bring your questions along. There's a really big thing going on. So we have the board set up. I'm gonna push these drawers in, and I will show you. So I'm gonna move the camera so you guys can see the board. So you guys can see that this board is completely set up to start World War II, along with a lot of our other fun little things we've got going on. Not really much else to it than that. I am working on getting more scenarios into the website. And I would love to know who has tried the games. I know I've gotten a few comments on people who have attempted them. Something else, No Limit. I know that you were talking about having the games tied together. The fun part about this series that we have developed is every game is modular. You don't have to play them together. You can play them separately. You can play them on the original boards. I know that you have the Europe and Pacific boards. I did watch your videos. So there's that. And so just keep that in mind. We're going to work on NATO and I were talking. We're going to work on a development to kind of help segregate the areas down, especially in North America, because of the 7 Years' War, the American Civil War, not so much the Napoleon Wars, but things like the Boer Wars and the Chinese Civil War and the Spanish Civil War. They're not necessary for this game, but they are fun to have because it does add a little bit more spice to it. Because if you can get KMT China to stay in the war and CCP to go out, or vice versa, then you know who your allies are going to be when the Cold War hits and when World War III does come along, or like the Spanish Civil War. For those of you who are veteran players and have checked out Doug and Will's expansion on the Spanish Civil War and adding it to global, you do know that it does taper and it changes how Germany's outcome comes out and France. So there's that comes along with it. Uh, there's a few other things. Manchukuo expansion, also on historical board gaming. Another one of those things that you can get a hold of. And yeah, and we understand the cost of the game. Believe me, we understand the cost of the game. I'm not going to go into how much we have spent over the many, many years that we have done this, but it's been one of those things that we have in the 8 years that he and I have been together. We have collected a lot of stuff. So this hasn't been just some sort of like overnight type thing, and it I don't expect you to, just jump on buying a $140 game map. Although very nice and very useful, I would hope that you could use the boards that you have to work on whatever and to work on the different scenarios, or develop like Young Grasshoppers expanded 1940 edition, and the expansions that historical board gaming has, or even just classic Axis and Allies, with the little bitty board. I've challenged NATO to pulling that one back out so that we could try it, but I think we would both go stark raving mad by turn two because it's so small. And in comparison to the almost, well, it's a 6 foot map now, but it's definitely a lot more intense because there's a lot less space to put all of your stuff. So yeah, we get it. We understand that. Still waiting. And NATO is texting me. He's at class, so well, he's in between classes right now, but should probably grab my water. I'm gonna grab my water real quick as soon as I figure out where I put it. Okay. So it's been 9 minutes into this. Just a quick shout out, Young Grasshopper. We are praying for Carlito. We hope that, your puppy gets better soon rather than later. And I know that it sucks. I just beat cancer in April, and it's not anything that's easy. And it doesn't matter if it's a human or a four-legged fur baby or anybody. It doesn't matter. It sucks all the way around, but it can be beaten. So there's hope, and there is prayers, and many, many people who just love you guys. And we really, really hope that it's for the best for Carlito, that everything works out for you. Still don't have anybody in here. That's okay. So one of the things that we were talking about was the American Civil War. I know that there was a big burst of comments as far as the American Civil War, and the fact that NATO beat me with one, literally, very literally one die. Um, it was pretty intense. It was a pretty intense game. So we have kind of come to the conclusion that what we're going to do is have influence if in an alternate scenario. So how we're going to do that is the South. If the South wins the American Civil War, then there will be an influence, and you're going to use the concept is to use a D12, and you you'll have a three-part roll. So if the influence is low, the South will stay completely strictly neutral. If the influence is in the middle, so 1 through 4 would be strictly neutral, and the South doesn't appease to neither the Union or to the Axis faction. If it's in between that, so a 5 to an 8, that would be America's influence. So the Union would take the South on, along with the production points that comes with it. And then a 9 to a 12 would be Germany's, because Germany would have to have significant influence on the South to get them to join up with them. And the idea would be, instead of the historic telegram that was supposed to have been sent to Mexico, but that was intercepted, would have actually gone to, let's say, Atlanta or Richmond or Birmingham or something like that, and wasn't intercepted. So the idea there again is that the middle role would be the Union taking on the South and conclusively making the Americas as a whole, just to fight a common enemy. Kind of the same thing as CCP and KMT doing the ceasefire. Um, the but if Germany takes them on, then suddenly America's got a two-front war on their home turf, and so that's really something I kind of want to test, and I really want to theorize, because we would have to definitely do some changes to the map. We would definitely have to configure IPC roles. So the South would probably be like at a 3 or a 4 at most, maybe a 5. Their production would not be very high because it's just the southern 13 states. But it wouldn't be very, very much at all. Um, what that kind of throws into an issue with that is that there would be the Mexico coming up against the South as well. So we've really discussed it, and um, we might just leave Mexico as a strict neutral. I mean, they spent 10 years fighting their own civil war with the rebels and the federal agents, and then if you go into World War II history, then you have the telegram that was intercepted by America that was supposed to go to Mexico, talking Mexico and influencing Mexico into attacking America from the South. If the South is the South, then Mexico doesn't have that chance unless the South becomes German puppeted, for what it's worth. That's probably the best way to put that. I would love to know your ideas and what you guys think about that. I think that it's actually a fantastic idea. It's definitely up to the challenge. As that very aggressive player, they don't call me Viper for nothing. I do like to have if you step on my nest, I'm gonna bite back, and so yeah, that happens. So that's really something that could really get intense very, very quickly, because suddenly Germany has another section that they have to attend to, and it's not just Central Europe. Um, in Typically in an average 5 to 8 player game, Germany would just control Germany, and that would be the end of it. However, in this type of concept, it would be Germany is controlling part of America. So I mean, yeah, that really throws it in there. And if you guys have ever tested it or played it, we actually do have America, where the Germans actually won World War II, and it's up to the Germans and the Japanese won World War II, and it's completely up to the United States to obliterate the Axis powers off of the coast. And that's actually a really fun game if you get the chance. It really is a good game. Um, then that would kind of creep that in there just a little bit if Germany did get that influence role. So, but I think that the influence is going to have to cost 2 to 3 IPPs per role, and you only get one per turn, one influence roll per turn. And I think it would go up until America actually joins the war. So if you're playing a 1940 version and you have the Japanese decide to not attack America, keep them subsided, like I would typically do, then you would have J1 completely open to do what they need to do on the Chinese coast, take Hong Kong, distract the British and stuff like that. And then J2, America would come into the war. And so Germany only has G1 to roll that die and try to get that influence on the South. So really it's definitely an intriguing, fun thing to do. So also as well, I was considering doing something else. So in March, at the end of March, especially since Easter Sunday is at the end of April this year, I am planning on taking a few days off. It is my birthday, and I do want to have a live YouTube game. Um, I'm open to players. I want to kind of keep it to at least 8. So shoot me a message. My email address is on the channel. You can let me know if you are interested. I will give you dates and times. But I want to play the full HBG global and starting in 1936. So we'll be starting all the way back to when Japan invades China, before America can join the war. No house rules. There will be strict HBG rules only. So if you don't have the listing of the rules, I would recommend going to historicalboardgaming.com and downloading those so that you have them. But yeah, I would love to get a YouTube game. So General Hand Grenade or Young Grasshopper or Sired Blood or anybody out there who wants to try to get into the game, we would love to join you. And that's pretty much the easiest and best way we can do so. But I need to know because I can't request the time off until I have some sort of okie dokie or confirmation from you guys. So, and honestly, if I don't have somebody joining in here soon, I'm going to shut this thing off because it's kind of weird not doing a game and just messaging you guys this way, but I'll figure it out. I swear I will. So, but so it's an average of 20 minutes per video. So, all right, guys. Well, I will see you next time right here on The Nest. Like it, live it, love it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit a squat on that like button, and we will see you next time on the next round.